This is the door pillar. Passenger side. The replacement piece comes with two pieces. One piece mounts in the back and just doesn't weld to the floor here. The piece in the front welds to the floor. That'll wrap all the way around and cover everything up, and then it'll wrap around this piece right here. Notice I got a little rust, a little welding to do here. I'll probably wait until I get the front piece on. I'll go around here and tack that up, otherwise this will just disintegrate. And then you fold it around and try to make it look like the rest of this up here. So first thing, I was all rusted here on this little piece that comes up, so I got a little piece I'm going to weld there. Also, fender bolt is missing. It got turned because it was rusted. So also a couple little spots of rust through here. I treated it with rust preventative, but I need to weld up these little holes. There's actually some down here too. So that's going to be a little tricky, trying to weld that without having it disintegrate. So I'll weld that stuff, grind it, then I'll treat it, get the bolt in here. And here's my hinge plate. And this should mount up here, something like this. We'll weld that in place. And I haven't finished cutting it yet, but then the top piece will go over that. And then the top piece is going to weld to this. So, all in all, it was a little scary getting in here, trying to do this, because there's really not a lot of good information out there about what it looks like inside. So, basically this inside piece, it was just hanging down here rusty. The outside piece was rusted and not even touching the heater channel. Surprisingly though, my heater channels are in pretty good shape. The damage from this car was caused because the front door was left open for years. The hinges rusted in place, and actually I think what happened was they said a tree grew into the car and made the door pop open. But anyway, this car sat for 26 years without any attention. So now it's getting some attention. One thing I noticed here, I don't know what the heck this stuff is, and maybe I'm going to die of cancer, but when you grind this stuff, it smokes. It's some kind of almost like a solid rubber or something. I don't know what the heck that stuff was. But I've seen it throughout the car in various places. I'm assuming that's factory original stuff. But they use that to cover up their welds. So anyway, have fun. Well, one little tiny dot of light you saw through there, I welded it up, and that grew. So I just kept going around with the torch tip until I found metal that was good enough to hold the weld. And just filled it in. So now I'm going to go back and grind it down. Getting more little holes of light show up through there. I'll hit them with the welder again, grind them down. Just keep doing that until it looks original. Both the outside and the inside. So a lot of work for one little tiny pinhole of light. But those pinholes of light, little tiny pinhole rust through metal. Usually there's a lot more than meets the eye. So I got my fender mount installed here, welded it in. I got to do some grinding and cleanup. Probably going to get the welder and tack it from the inside too, just to make sure that thing doesn't spin. What happened when I was taking off the old ones, the thing was rusted out and it just spun around and tore out the sheet metal. But what are you going to do? It was inside the A-pillar. You can't really get to the other side or anything, so that's that. So also got some welding down here. This is a little bottom piece that just sticks out. There's a couple of spots. I felt the metal. You know, it's not soft. So it's just got some rust holes. And, you know, what I'm thinking happened was the water got in there, rusted a hole, and then the water started getting out through the hole, and the rest of it stayed pretty solid. And I got this. I'll weld this in for the heater channel so that my hose can connect to it. So I got that to do. Then I'll install the hose, and then I can start sealing this thing up. So got a lot of work left to do. Alright, what we got here is I mounted a piece of plumbing, welded it to the top of the heater channel. Then I had this vacuum cleaner hose that actually had a solid plastic piece on one end and a coil on the other end that fit perfectly here. So I pushed it down here, and then I wrapped it with this aluminum can because I'm going to be welding around this edge and the bottom edge, and I don't want to melt the plastic with the welder. So that aluminum can is just a protector during the welding process, and it's going to live inside the Volkswagen. And then I put a little clamp here to put it really good and tight to hold that on. And then on the top end, I'll just hook the vacuum hose up to the what's that thing, defroster. So thing is, the hose that comes with the Volkswagen, the original stuff. This is what it is, and you know, it just doesn't do the job. All this stuff, there's like tar on it. Yeah, it's probably really hard to see, but that shit fell down in there and helped cause all the rot that's in here. And it's just, you know, original equipment isn't good, so that's why I decided to put a plastic hose in there. That plastic will probably live much longer than I will. Okay, now I got the hinge plate, the backing plate, welded into place. And it's time to cut the fascia piece to fit and weld it in. And also going to drill some holes along the front, because that front's going all the way to the bottom here. It's going to weld to the bottom, weld to the top, the edges. It's going to be very solid. This piece is just kind of floating here. It's solid, but there's really nothing behind it. So I'm going to weld. I'm going to drill holes in the front piece and weld it here. And I'm also going to drill holes in the front piece and do some welding right in here. And maybe probably be able to get that from the back. I'm going to snap a weld in that corner because I don't want that thing moving around. Lots of fun. Well, I got the piece cut for the hinge pillar, and right now getting ready to weld it. So it seems to fit in there pretty well. I went ahead and cut it with my angle grinder. Just went around all the edges and just kept working on it until it was the right shape, and had to bend it a little to make it match what's here. I'll bend this down when I'm done, and then I drilled some holes here, and I drilled some holes here, drilled a couple holes here and one here so that I can kind of do some spot welding. Down here in the bottom I drilled some almost holes all the way through, not quite all the way through, but I'll jam the welder torch in that and see if I can spot weld a few spots, and then I'll go ahead and do some little welds along here and just keep going back and forth with them until I fill it in. I don't really want to try to do a solid weld all the way across because I'm scared I'm going to melt some steel. Just don't have the best welder. Anyway, just getting ready to go ahead and tack this thing in place. Once it's in place, then I'll grind the welds down. I'll need to bend this little piece over right here because it's the way it comes. You'll need to bend it and then probably tack it in place. Thinking I'll be tacking from the back side in here. So these two and this one are going to hold against this backing plate. Try to hold that in place, as well as right along here. These welds, these holes that should be able to hold that in place and kind of make this solid. So we'll see how it goes. Get the welder going. Well, I got the hinge pillar replacement panel welded in. It actually came in pretty well. There's a lot of grinding to do. Unfortunately, my neighbors are having a party there right now, so I don't want to light up the grinder. It's going to be pretty noisy, and they don't need that. So I'm going to wait until another day for the grinding, and we'll grind off all these welds. We can go ahead and see if there's any gaps, which I'll weld in again, and then I'll grind it again. And assuming it's all good, then go ahead and do a primer coat. So, other thing I gotta do, probably get something to drink. But besides that, so these are those two little spot welds that I put holes in there so I could go through and weld the back panel, and then another one here, and that actually worked out really well. And I had some along the side. Did the same thing. I rolled this piece over the edge, and it came out pretty nice. The only thing I have left to do really as far as welding, there's a little tiny hole right here where it was rotten. So I'm going to probably have to cut a little piece. Oops. Have to cut a little piece to fit in there and weld it in. Figure out where the end of the good steel is down there. And anyway, that's just a little thing. No big deal. So hopefully I'll have this thing by next weekend, all primed, ready to go. I got the chassis over there. What I want to do is get the chassis under the car, because it's going to start raining pretty soon. And I really don't want to have to protect the chassis separately from the body from the rain. I just want to have one big cover out here for the winter. So anyway, that's pretty much it on the hinge pillar. You can imagine what it's going to turn out like, because it came out really good so far. If you have any questions, post them. Maybe I can help you. Maybe I can just confuse you. Or just ask my friend Pete, because he really knows what the hell he's doing. Have a good one. Alright, this is the conclusion of episode 3 of the Shade Tree Mechanic. Got the car up on blocks now. Got the chassis back on. And last time we were looking at this A-pillar. So this is the final product. Got a lot more work to do, but for now, this part's done. I don't know how much you can see there, but got it welded in. Got it pretty well seamed in where you can't see where we did it. I think it was like right along this line. So got some primer on there, and probably put another couple coats of primer, a little sanding, and just to make sure you can't see that at all. But Pretty much that's it. The door is pretty much done. The door hinge. So it's on to another projects. Having lots of fun. Take care.